Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Josh, and I asked you guys to ask me questions on Instagram, kind of like an AMA, ask me anything audio related or otherwise, and these are your questions. So, Tiny Fabby writes, I want to build a good value setup for speakers for media and headphones for music. Where do I start? If you're at a desk, though, for speakers, I would recommend something like the Mica RB42s, and then headphones would probably be the Sennheiser HD58X. It's probably going to be the best bang for your buck. I would pick the 58Xs up first if you have to spread your costs out over time, just because you can run them off of just about everything, including a phone or a computer kind of output. And it's going to sound pretty good. So you're going to get good sound quality right away from those. And they're good for media too. And then later upgrade down the line as you go. If you're in a big room though, for headphones, you could definitely stick with those 58Xs. But for amplifiers, I would look at something on the used market. Usually you can find pretty good vintage gear around 100 to 200 bucks that has a lot of power. And then I'd recommend something like the ELAC UB5s. Elliot 2 says, what Windows settings do you use to optimize audio quality? I really don't use any settings specifically. I use kind of the default output when I'm streaming. And that just is handled however it's handled from Google Play. And then I have a more established system with Fubar 2000, which just uses Wasabi. G Tannibal says, do you believe in superiority of headphones over speakers or the other way around? So theoretically, I think speakers are a superior option. We've also made a lot more speakers and people are really good at making speakers. But headphones are catching up. And headphones are really good for other things like detail retrieval. There are details in headphones that I cannot hear in any pair of speakers that I listen to. But there's other things and the delivery is different. So to answer your question, no, but it's more preferential. But I think from a technical perspective, speakers go a little bit further if you have an unlimited budget. Fostex 900, ooh, sorry for the review yesterday. Dana Fripps, Eris to DAC, thoughts, possible review. Don't have any thoughts, haven't heard it yet, so I don't know much about it. Jaifu Nobody says, best headphones, money is no object. I think best, like obviously best is going to be subjective. I'd probably have to say the HE1, even though I haven't heard it yet. Just theoretically, that should be the best. But of the headphones I've heard, price no object. I'm going to say the Aria, but that's just from what I've heard and just based off my personal preferences. A lot of people might like some other stuff. Lancy Dancy says, would you consider using frequency response graphs more often in your reviews? No. And the reason why is because when I'm looking for audio products, personally, myself, frequency response graphs are not very interesting to me. And there's been a number of times where I've seen graphs that should be recorded well and they should be accurate, but my ears hear a different thing. I think graphs have a very specific use case and they're very good for that specific use case, and to certain people they speak really clearly to. But in my like buying kind of experience as kind of myself, a graph really isn't in my consideration. So it's not something that I'm going to force myself to bring up in my reviews because it's not really something that I personally feel like I care about. But that's just me, and that's just how I review products. The official Brad Beck says, how about drilling a hole in the M1060C closed cups to give the driver more air? You could. You definitely void your warranty, and the M1060Cs have pretty good warranties. I think it's either like 3 or 5 years, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was, and now it's 1 year. Whatever. You'd still void your warranty. And when you could just unscrew the cups and the drivers are already covered, and they make aftermarket grills that are pretty cheap, and it gets a lot more air, and in my experience, sounds a lot better that way. I wouldn't really see the point of buying a closed back headphone just to drill holes in it without fully committing to an open back sound. And if you just undo the cups, if you ever want a closed sound again, you can just screw them back on, and then you don't have a ruined cup. Isaac Eeg says, do the 58Xs benefit from an amp DAC? Yes. It's not a massive change though, unless you need like the actual volume difference between like a, let's say your headphone can't power it to be loud enough, an amplifier will help you with that. Sound quality will also be improved, but it's not a massive change like some other audio products are. One Argavon, sorry for mispronouncing that, says, do you keep the review units companies send you? And if not, what device do you wish you could? The short answer is sometimes it just depends on the price of the product and the situation. A lot of times, if it's like a higher end product, I will send the company kind of a promotional material in the form of like footage, and not like me promoting it, but like the actual footage of the device, and I'll kind of release the rights to that as a form of kind of payment for the product if I've already reviewed it. Brown Coffee and Tea says, are custom IEMs worth the money? An actual working professional and are using it to monitor music, then yeah, absolutely. I think any musician will tell you that having custom IEMs are a godsend for comfort and long listening sessions, and having an accurate sound to monitor with something that just kind of loops around your ear. Very small, very lightweight, easy to travel with, and don't really, mess up the show in any way. Yeah, they totally are. But to a guy like me who doesn't really need IEMs in general, because I'm always listening inside in a closed space, not really. What are your thoughts on hi-fi products like the Blonde BL3 and anything from KZ? I don't have any problem with it. I think Hi-Fi is great. It's a very fast-moving industry that I've noticed, and it seems like it's spiked up in popularity for a bit and has kind of dipped down. But like I said before, I'm not really a big in-ear monitor type of person myself, so it's really hard for me to motivate myself to reach out to those companies to get review products. But I don't have any problem with them. I think the sound quality for the price is usually pretty good. Jermal says, what whiskeys do you have and are excited about right now? Cheers. Actually, I'll show you. So for Christmas, my girlfriend got me the Lagavulin 16 single malt Scotch whiskey, and it's pretty amazing. It's really quite different from a lot of other stuff I've tried. For example, I need to buy some more, obviously, but Angel's Envy. This is a bourbon whiskey. They're close to the same price. I think these are like 50 to 60, depending on when you get them, and these are closer to 70 to 80. And this is kind of like caramely. And this is like one of the smokiest things that I've ever tried. It sounds like a charcoal fireplace in your mouth. Nico Skibb says, what's the difference between the sound card for PC and an amp? That depends completely on the amp and the card. So let's say you take the worst amplifier and the best card, the card is going to sound better, probably. I've heard some pretty bad amps. If you take the best amplifier and the worst card, the difference is going to be pretty huge. A lot of what you'll hear is not only going to be a volume and power discrepancy between the two, but you'll also hear a lot better control in every frequency. So you're going to hear like high notes and tight notes become tighter, bass response is going to become faster and more resolving, and you should see a lot of clarity basically all across the board. But that's between the worst and the best. Kind of like average to average. You'll see a little bit better, I would say, on average from amps than you will PC cards, but some PC cards are pretty good. Can you do more budget project videos like under $250? I'm trying. I really am. I've got some stuff planned that is on the cheaper side, I promise. Metij Grim says, best sound reproduction you've heard. I mean, which one you like the most? I think the best reproduction of sound was a speaker company I saw at a show called Alsy Vox, ALSYVOX, 2 words. Those are probably the best. Blue Bear says, why did you choose audio for YouTube as opposed to other things like video, tech, etc.? Okay, so I would like to get more into tech this year. I said that last year. I didn't do it. I was lazy. I fucked up on that, but I want to do it this year. I want to start introducing more and more tech and then subside some of the bad reviews that I do for products, and just focus on the good products that come in that I really like and just promote those. And then with the free time that I have not reviewing bad products, I can start introducing other types of different types of tech products, probably revolving around desktop type stuff. The reason why I chose audio is I was getting into audio right as I started kind of getting into YouTube, and I knew I wanted to do something on YouTube, but I wasn't sure what. So I was doing kind of the old thing where you kind of throw shit against the wall to see what sticks. If you don't know what that means, it basically means you just try a bunch of things until something works out. And audio was the thing that stuck the most, so I was personally interested in it, so I just kind of ran with it. And here we are today. Blue Bear also writes, and this will be the last question, what was your initial investment for money and time when starting your YouTube channel? So YouTube was very hard to do while I had a different job. It was really hard, and it'd be a little bit different if I came from a job that I really enjoyed. But when you're working a job where you're like working in a warehouse and you're just tired all the time, and you got like, management that you don't really like, and you're not really having a lot of fun, it's hard to get the motivation and inspiration for YouTube. So you kind of got to free up some time, if you can, or you got to kind of powerhouse through it. And I kind of had to powerhouse through it until it kind of started to pick up a little bit. And then I was like, okay, I can invest more time into this. Money wise, I've kept it actually pretty cheap, and a lot of the stuff is acquired over time. But I would estimate, total investment for everything has probably been in the ballpark of, around $10,000. But over time, I'd say initial startup, get a good camera, get a good microphone, and just learn a lot about lights, because you don't need expensive lights. You just need kind of a good understanding of how to light. For example, the light bulb lighting me right now is $5. There you go. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up. Thanks for asking questions on Instagram. Please follow me there and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more audio related content. Until the next video, my name is Josh, signing off.